Hello all, my name is Kalle Mäkelä. I come from Eficode. I work as lead AI consultant and my job here today is to show you what we have been building or basically experimenting on in regard of generative AI and software engineering. What you're about to see is basically a demo built on top of Jira. We are using agents to drive software development from customer requirements to specifications to technical design and in the end writing up some code. This is a POC demo and this is only the beginning. But first of all, let's actually start explaining a little bit what are LLMs and retrieval augmented generation functionality with the LLMs all about. Foundationally, LLMs are a snapshot done in the past. So they cannot have the data what you are now experiencing when you are reading this or seeing this video. So they are inherently always, or they are foundationally always trained on the data what you use. And because of that, you need to always retrain it if you want to include data that is not included in the training set before. So for example, here you can have a question at what is our company's marketing strategy. So of course, in Eficode context, it doesn't know. So what we do to fix it basically. So we are gonna build this kind of functionality called retrieval augmented generation next to the large language model, meaning that basically when we ask about some data or what you have in the LLM, we are seeing that, okay, it doesn't know that data. So we are going to augment the data and the context when we are asking it again. So we will retrieve from your data sources, etc. Information, and then we are going to generate an answer with the LLM. So this is very simple architect picture of what we are having in the demo, but with this even simpler context. What we have in the background in the demo, we have the large language model, which is the OpenAI model, what we are using there, which is quite good at what we are doing in the demo context. And of course, in your business context, it's not so easy. We are going to have different roles that are going to be run as agents to actually have the queries done automatically with code, and then we are going to store the information and the response basically in the end in the Jira. From a RAG point of view, we have all of the data we have within the Jira, but in the future, in real world, you have infinite amount of data that you need to include when you are doing decisions based on or using LLM. All right, so let's go to the demo. So here you can see very simply, very simple Kanban board. We have two tickets here. First of which is actually that RAG. We don't have any Confluence in this case. We have everything that we need in the Jira ticket itself to make this demo as simple as possible. So we are actually operating this Pooperit solution company, which is a kind of Amazon startup 25 years ago, when they had database and they had books, which they wanted to sell to the market. So it was like a first of its kind digital, digital bookstore, let's say like that. So our data is within this ticket, which means that we have all of the background information for the company. So our mission, which is very important when we do decisions based on requirements and specifications. So it will direct our agents in the right direction. Also, we have here basically defined the agents themselves. So we have four. We have product owner agent. We have data protection officer, which comes from EU GDPR directive. So meaning that we will check business domain and non-functional requirements when we are actually working on what we are going to implement, which is very important. And all of the companies in the world have specific needs when they are running their business in some legislation or like continent, or like what is the business context? Is it automotive? Is it banking? Is it telco? Is it DevSec or whatever? So then we have software architect, which I'm going to explain later why it's quite important, and then developer agent in the end. So we are going to have the code written in the demo by that agent. So the knowledge base actually is very important also to basically describe a process, because like generative AI agents, which are autonomous digital extension of the roles what you have in any of your processes, they are context dependent, and the context is always the process. They are not working as in an island. They are working as a part of end-to-end flow. What you are, how you are building products, how you are building services, like human beings. If you take a human being from the university and put it to work in your process, and if you don't train that person to work within the process, it just cannot fly. It doesn't work. So you need to tell agents like you tell human beings that what is your context. And with definition ready and definition done, we are kind of guiding the agent that what is your starting points, or what your end result is all about, etc. And of course, in a knowledge base, we want to tell for the technical people, we want to tell more specifics for what kind of technologies we use to develop our services and products. And in this case, for example, we are pure Python house here, basically, because we have only kind of like the database and then an API developed with Python on top. And then we have a source code repository link here. All right. But this is our knowledge base, which we are going to use when we are invoking the agents. But now I have here another ticket. For an example, I have two customer or end user needs here. And I'm going to remove one, but I'm just like explaining here that I have a Bookbridge customer user story, and then I have a sales manager. So for example, for the customer would have something like, I want to see new books that are available for me based on my previous buying history, so that I can quickly see a potential book so that I want to read that I like. But there is now this one thing that I want to do because I haven't actually tried it before. So as a Bookbridge sales manager, I want to see last month's customer purchase history so that I can tag books that aren't sold that much to be on sale. A little bit bad English there, but let's see. LLMs are quite good at understanding the meaning between the lines. Let's rewrite the title here so that I have books on sale. Okay. And it's quite important also when you are using generative AI to actually have the motivation of who wants to do what. And this is also, of course, important when you are working with human beings. So that the motivation is very, very important, because now when we are creating specifications, in specifications we are writing with Gherkin, and you can see in the end what I mean about this motivation to be important. So let's see how it goes. I'm gonna save it, and by the way, here is this draft. So this draft is just like a label that we are searching for the agent. To be, it will find all of the basically issues that have this label, and it will basically read the information on the description field, and then will do its job. Okay, I will close this up, and then I'm gonna execute the agent. Let's see, now it starts to work. So it reads now the information in that knowledge base. And after that, we should have a new ticket on the Kanban board. Let's see if we need to refresh. No, we didn't need to refresh. So now we have this user story kind of like analyzed, and then we have content in the description field. So let's see what the AI did for us. So user story, view last month's customer purchase history, allow the Bookbridge sales manager to view last month's customer purchase history to identify books that aren't sold much and tag them for sale. So we have two. So now you can immediately see that, okay, we have two scenarios, access purchase history and then tag books for sale. So it dissected the user story. So it took the who wants to do what and then why as separate scenarios, which is very cool in my opinion, because now we are able to verify the functionality also that we are actually addressing the motivation of the user story, which is number one reasons that I'm frustrated working with specification and user stories, because the motivation for any actions in regarded to any system is very, very key. So here we have access purchase history. Given I'm logged in Sales Manager, when I navigate to the purchase history section and I select the options to view the last month's history, then I should see a list of all customer purchases from the last month. Okay, sounds good. That book for sale. Given I am viewing last month's purchase history and I identify books that haven't sold so much, and I select the option to tag them for sale, then the selected book should be marked for sale. All right, so cool. So we have functional specification there. So let's see what comes later or after this. So we have here very, very simple non-functional requirements. So we have dependencies, design mockups, technical feasibility, performance criteria. And so in the agent itself, we are actually saying that, hey, these needs to be handled in the process. All right. But let's see how what the next agent does. So you will get more context to that. So I will run the DPO agent and let's wait for that to be finished. Now, yeah. So we got a new ticket. The same ticket, but let's see what we have. All right. So we have a DPO data protection officer that took the functional specification and derived non-functional requirements for that. All right. So this is kind of like very, very foundational thing that you need to start, or like when you are doing your business, it's very domain specific, and you have you have standards that you need to uphold. You need NIS2 coming in the industry in the EU. You have you have all of the things that needs to be included into this requirement and specification work. You can automate, I believe, most of it, so that you can just drive through the agents, these kind of reading the documentation, getting the input from, for example, from customer interface. So we can have previous week's main box here. We can see for the performance criteria there, okay, we have some performance issues, and those are kind of included automatically here. So we have here data privacy, access control, etc., compliancy. How do we see any very interesting stuff here? So they only collect and display the minimum necessary data required for the sales manager to perform the task. So very good point. So we don't want to actually tell that, okay, which customers are using what. Next up, we want to go to more technical stuff or technical details. So we start talking about designing the solution. So what we have been doing for two columns now or phases, we have done specifications derived from functional requirements or customer need, basically. Then we have a column where we have any amount of business domain kind of functional requirements. Check that, okay, is the safety in, for example, for automotive things. So safety is quite critical, so we can have analysis there. Whatever agents we want to be done, like for the quality loop, quality assurance loop, we can get any kind of information there. But I just triggered in the background the architect agent. So we have next up here. All right. So what the architect agent now does is that it will take the specifications and the whole ticket basically there and start designing against our repository a solution on it. And why do we want to do it like this? So why don't we just take the user story and then, write the code? But kind of in a startup phase, when you are doing if you have small teams, you can quite easily very, very quickly like experiment stuff. If we are in a very kind of like heavy industry, for example, or healthcare domain, we are working on that domain where we want to audit our steps. We need to have this process like observability in check. And also, if we are basically going from customer need to for example using Copilot and start developing, we are kind of like missing the possibility to keep our larger code base in check. So we will have in the end a lot of code churn or whatever. We are gonna rewrite code a lot based on whoever wants to do whatever. So it's kind of good practice that like the reasons why you have it in the human way of working also, that you have an architect that is kind of like keeping the architecture and logical architecture in good condition. So it's like a good place to have discussions also. So let's see. So here we have actually a couple of endpoints that we are gonna create. So we have last month in purchase history endpoint. Then we have books, book ID, tags for sale. Database schema is going to have some changes because we don't have these informations here. And then we have all of these process related stuff for the developer. But by the way, I forgot to tell you, you can always, of course, go to this ticket and have modifications. Let's see if that goes through, for example. So it is imperative that humans are in the loop. We are agreeing on when we want to do these changes, but kind of like this is a very nice way to have the minimum amount of work kind of like very quickly, in the ticket itself, and then you can collaborate. So you can imagine in the teamwork, for example, scenario, we can actually use these kind of flows, these agent-driven flows, to really, really have this team, cross-functional teams working together. And personal note here is that 15 years ago, I was working in an extreme programming manner. So I had pair programming, I had actually mob programming. We kind of like had 2 days of actual programming workshop in a meeting room where we had one screen where we coded, and then other people were thinking about different kind of aspects of the solution, what we are bringing in. So this is kind of like, again, the same situation, which is, in my opinion, very fun. All right. So, and let's now then start coding. And how we do it, we actually go and select this to be to be implemented. So it's kind of like that we had this definition of ready check, and now we are gonna do the development work. So we are using here OpenAI, so we don't have here, for example, Claude used. So we are taking the ticket again and basically prompting that, okay, implement these to these files, or what files needs to be changed, etc. And every time I have something different. So, okay, I have here, for example, open pull request, GenAI created implementation of a task, backend implementation. That's not a nice title. We should fix it. Of course, you can use the Copilot actions here, for example, to analyze what we are doing. And so what we have changes. So we have database changes coming here. We have purchase history DTO. We have a new tag for sales response. Then we have the models.py implementation. So we have purchase history here, which we have like purchase date, quantity. So, okay, so we are storing purchase history, which is a good thing, so that we can get the least amount of sold books there. And now I have a new get routine here, call here 1 month ago. So we are gonna get all of the books, yes, so that are, the least amount of, I hope it's least amount of sales. Then I have tag for sale. So I'm gonna basically have here a tagging. So yeah, DB book for sale true. So I'm gonna get a list of books here, and then I'm gonna tag them to be under sale. And here we have the test cases. So mock purchase history. I have couple of test data books here. And then I'm going to have the test case for the functionality. With a quick glance, it looks to be okay. All right. So of course, now comes the fun part, which is of course validation, QA. So like you saw in the end, you have unit tests, but in reality, of course, what you had in the beginning, in the board, you have the specifications, and many of you may guess already. Actually, these Gherkin scenarios are user acceptance testing test cases. So you can actually do manual testing with these, or you can automate these test cases to be your end-to-end test cases. And of course, in this case, we had all of the end-to-end test cases are kind of API test case on API level, but you could have UI component here. So you would be, of course, implementing new end-to-end test cases here. And I'm going to show you in a couple of months, basically a new version where we have the QA agents working together with these developer agents, like in a proper way, to actually to be more robust on the test-driven development way. But thank you for your time, and see you around.